What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Yeah, I know I'm looking a little dapper Dan today. Just got off the old job, feeling myself. So just thought, today was a good day. Just thought I would, keep the fit on and just want to say excuse the noise. Neighbors are doing something next door. The doctor missus are doing something in the other room, who knows? But uh, we're gonna focus on me and what we're talking about today. And man, this is a great weekend, and got a lot of great college football games going on tomorrow. And for all my hoopers, my real hoop lovers, we got the WNBA semis coming up on Sunday, starting then. So you know what? You can have football on one angle, and you can have the women's game, WNBA game on another one. If you really love the game, like you say, you love the game. But we can talk about that another time. But you know what? I want to dive in before I get into some of the football games on Saturday. I really want to start by talking about a really good matchup as far as the semis, matchup that I actually predicted would be happening. And that would be the Connecticut Sun, and 3 seed going against the Liberty, New York Liberty, the 2 seed, and the 1 seed, number one overall seed, Aces, going up against the 4 seed, uh, Dallas Wings. And so, kind of want to start with that 2-3 matchup, the Liberty and the Sun. And so, for those of you that were paying attention to the first round of the WNBA playoffs, again, best out of 3 games, the Liberty were actually able to sweep the Mystics, so capturing the first 2 games on their own court, so didn't need to go to Washington to play a decisive game 3, even though, the Mystics really fought hard, had a lead at one point in time, and the Liberty kind of started roaring back. Ionescu and Stewie got hot. Jonquel Jones really came up in the clutch. After Ionescu missed 2 key free throws, and Jonquel was able to get a rebound, got fouled, and the other 2 free throws to ultimately send it to overtime, but they were able to run away with the game. But man, Liberty, again, we're calling them the super team. They were stacked. We knew they were stacked. I actually had 4 players score over 18 points per game. And the surprising thing is, of those 4 scores, Brianna Stewart scored the least amount of points at 18.5. Sabrina Ionescu, John Claude Jones, and Laney, they also scored a ton of points, led by Ionescu, who led the team in points. So, uh, you know, big super team, and not to mention Vandersloot, the point guard that she is, or point goddess that she is, averaged 8 assists per game. So getting these scores, the ball in good position. So, man, the Liberty were loaded. We knew coming into the year they were loaded, and they showed first round that they were loaded. And you know, the Mystics really fought hard. I mean, I kind of thought it might go to 3 games. I thought it was a possibility that, Natasha Cloud, Alina Deladon could steal a game on New York's home court and bring it back to Washington. But the Liberty said, no way, we're trying to get this stuff over with now. And one thing that was really fascinating in game 2, the decisive game 2 for the sweep, was that they made some key stops down the stretch. They made it hard for Natasha Cloud to get the ball and really do some things. They made it hard for Alina Deladon to get it in some of her spots. So when you make it hard for the opposing team's 2 best players, and then you're doing what you need to do on the offensive end, that sounds like a championship ball club to me. But I mean, this isn't going to be any slouch. I mean, the Connecticut Sun, now they had to end up playing a decisive game 3 after losing game 2 to the Minnesota Lynx. They had to go to Minnesota, but ultimately came through with the win. Actually, in the route, I think they won 101-74. It was around that time, around that score range when I last looked at it. And what's fascinating about this matchup is this is John Jonquel Jones' former team. So, Connecticut Sun, in a way, they were left out to dry, losing their best player who was an MVP at one point in time. You don't just lose an MVP type talent and get the 3rd seed in the league playoffs and win in the first round, and make it to the semis, and one round to one round away from the WNBA Finals. That just doesn't happen in any league when you lose your best player. But Connecticut Sun rose to the occasion, led by the coach of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and it showed. Um, and obviously they're led by, as far as players are concerned, Alyssa Thomas, the triple double machine, led to the unit with 23 points and 9 assists. And obviously you got Dewana Bonner, also pitching in 22 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. And man, they just did what they had to do. Again, they would have liked to sweep and finish the series on their home floor in Connecticut, but they dropped game two. But they didn't, they got their minds right on the flight because they went to Minnesota with it on their mind because it was a route from start to finish, to be honest with you. And so I'm really loving this matchup. Now, if you look at the regular season, Liberty won this series 4-1. So doesn't seem like it was very competitive. But when you know the backstory of Connecticut and losing to John Quell Jones, and now saying, hey, like, we made it, we proved everybody wrong, we're here, and a chance to show that they could do it when a lot of people had them, probably vying for the top pick in the WNBA draft this year, they said, hell no, we're going to play. And so I think this is going to be a good series. Uh, I'm expecting, I'm looking to see what the Liberty have to do to, contain Alyssa Thomas because she does it all. She plays hard defense. She scores. She passes. She rebounds. So, what is she going to look like? Who's going to take that matchup? Is she going to take the matchup versus Sabrina Ionescu, or is she going to be playing Vandersloot? How are they going to limit Vandersloot from getting, everybody involved? In the first round of the Liberty series, that task was mostly Vandersloot, which makes sense. But are they going to try to force Sabrina to be more of a playmaker instead of a scorer, which she led the team in scoring? Is Stewie going to kind of struggle from the field, even though she averaged 18 and a half? A lot of that came from she kind of had a struggle in game two, and so we're wanting to see like, hey, are you going to bounce back? She made some plays down the stretch offensively, but you know she's arguably the MVP of this league, going what with Aja Wilson over in Las Vegas, who we'll get to in a second. But just trying to figure out, hey, if your players aren't playing their best, and kind of the Liberty weren't playing their best against the Mystics in game two. So could they possibly drop a game or two to the Connecticut Sun? And I want to remind everybody that this is the best of five series instead of the best of three that is in the first round. So Liberty get the first two games, then you got two in Connecticut, and then you have a game five, if necessary, back in New York to decide who goes to the WNBA Finals. So, really excited for this series, but just kind of thinking about the star power that New York Liberty have. I think they want to make it known that, hey, we're just not one of those fluke super teams that can't get to the dance. So I think they're going to handle business to a degree, not a sweep, out of respect for Alyssa Thomas, Dewana Bonner, and what they've been able to, what the Connecticut Sun have been able to accomplish this season. I will give them a game, most likely game three, the first game on their floor. And I'm going to take the Liberty to win this series in 4 games. So winning 3 games to the Connecticut Suns one, and the New York Liberty making it to the WNBA Finals. So that's kind of where I am with that first set in the semifinals. Second set, obviously you got the number one seed, Las Vegas Aces, versus the Dallas Wings, who are the fourth seed in this matchup. And, Aces coming off sweeping the Chicago Sky. Honestly, wasn't really that close. They are the best team in the league, and they looked like it, and they proved it. Led by, it was just announced today, Defensive Player of the Year for the second year in a row, Aja Wilson. And she might take home the MVP trophy as well. We've kind of been saying it's been what with her and Stewie. But I think her taking the approach of stepping up her game, especially defensively when you lose Candace Parker for the season, while also averaging 26 and 12 in that first round matchup versus the Chicago Sky, I can really see her, getting that MVP nod. Obviously, you take Aja's star power, and then you add a Jackie Young, who has been phenomenal from the 3-point range as you led the league in it this year. Kelsey Plum, you know what to do. Tell your man Darryl Waller, I need him to start playing better for the New York Giants because yesterday was sad. But he ain't got nothing to do with you. You a star, you a stud, you get the job done. So she's a baller, always has been since the University of Washington. And then obviously you got Chelsea Gray, who's always ready to drop a dime. And again, they're doing this without Candace Parker, the only CP3 I acknowledge. So, you know, man, imagine if she was on this floor. We're talking about New York Liberty being a super team. Las Vegas Aces, they are a super team. This is like, you know, the freaking, 73-9 Warriors got LeBron James, not just Kevin Durant, but they got LeBron James. That's how highly I view Candace Parker and what she's been able to do in this league. And so for them to still be able to bounce back from such a significant injury in what they're trying to accomplish and still dominate the league and dominate the first round of the playoffs, that says a lot. But their opponent, man, I told y'all, the Wings are something. The Wings are something. They were my dark horse this year to make the playoffs and to do some damage. And they were able to hold serve and beat the Atlanta Dream in three. So, oh, actually, they beat them in two games, so they beat them 2-0. Were able to finish it in a rout on their home floor. So won the series 2-0 versus the Atlanta Dream. And obviously, Enrique is that heart and soul of that team. But most improved player, Satu Sabali, man, she did her thing. She was going toe to toe. When we first started talking about that first round series, we were talking about Ryan Howard and how she was a bucket. And while, at that time, I was like, Enrique is a bucket, and they might be going at it, man. Well, Satu said, "Don't forget about me, baby. Don't forget about me," because she was delivering buckets, actually delivering dimes. And guess what? That wasn't the end of it. She said, "You know what? I'm going to take the challenge of guarding Ryan Howard." And so she did it all, offensively and defensively. And it's no surprise that she won, most improved player in the WNBA. And given some of the challenges early in her career with injuries, man, I'm just so proud of her and happy for her because it just shows the work that she's put in, shows the belief her teammates have in her, the organization has in her, and she proved everybody right. That they, and she earned it, and she showed that she deserves to have, their respect and their support, man. And she's done her thing, and let's not forget about McCowan, big girl in the middle, doing her thing, 14 points, 15 boards to add with 2 blocks. So she was definitely holding down the fort, made a lot of things tough for the Atlanta Dream. And so it was good to kind of see dominant force that she was in the paint. And, Natasha Howard, the vet, former Defensive Player of the Year, I will say she didn't have her best series offensively, but she did what she had to do defensively, especially helping McCowan protect the rim in certain instances. And you saw she kind of got her groove a bit back in game two. So hopefully that translates to the next series against the Aces because they are going to need her. They're going to need McCowan because Asia is a dog and she is coming. And so you're going to have to be able to throw some bodies at her. I know the Wings have a couple other bigs. Including their rookie that they drafted, Segrist, I believe is her last name. So they're going to have the body to try to throw at Asia, but again, she's a star. She's a superstar, offensively and defensively. So it's going to be tough. And it's going to be a battle of willpower. And so can Dallas throw some members in their front court at Asia, let her see a few different bodies, few different styles. Obviously, you want your best defensive players, especially in the post, to stay out of foul trouble. But I would say Natasha Howard, what she can give defensively, but also offensively and spreading the floor, it's going to be huge for side two. It's going to be huge for Enrique. It's even going to be huge for McCowan, having some space inside and maybe get some offensive boards because he was a rebounding machine. So I'm really excited to see what that series is going to be. Now, I'd also think second units are going to be really important. When the starters have to take a breather and some of those members of the second unit come in, what are they going to be doing? Are they going to be a detriment or are they going to be a benefit to what the teams are trying to do? So really looking forward to seeing how things turn out there. Now in the regular season, the Aces dominated. They won the season series 3-1. And when we say they are the best team, they've shown that they were the best team all season long, that this might very well be 3-0. But I think Dallas is here to prove a point. I will say I think they're probably a year away. I saw that they were projected to get Haley Van Lith out of LSU now, formerly of Louisville, and I would love that to happen. Definitely will get my jersey if that's the draft pick. But right now we're in the playoffs, and we're going to focus on that. And so it's hard for me as much as I want to pick the upset right now. I did tell you last episode it is a two-team race, and I truly believe that wholeheartedly. But I do believe the Dallas Wings will put up a fight. I think they will. I think they will still. One, I'm going to say they will still a game in Las Vegas, and have a chance to win the series 3-1 in Dallas. But I think that championship DNA, I just think it's going to be too much. I think that star power that Las Vegas has. I think their experience. They've been there with each other. I think the Aces ultimately, bring this series back to Las Vegas and win this series 3-2. So win it in five, and they will be taking on the New York Liberty for the WNBA title. So that's kind of where I stand with there. Like I said, man, this is a wonderful time for women's sports and women's basketball in particular. You're not going to see too much high level basketball played more than you'll see in these respective series. And so I encourage everybody to take the time to watch it and really enjoy it, because this is going to be one for the books. And I really can't wait until we get to the WNBA finals, because we're going to be focusing our shows game by game on that. So really excited for that. But now I want to kind of go, transition from the WBA game, which again starts Sunday, this Sunday, and we're going to transition to Saturday. A lot of games, a lot of amazing games. But I wanted to pick out three in particular that I feel will be statements for a few teams. And there's nothing I love more or as much as the statement Saturday. And for those of you that are new to this, statement Saturday means you have a point to prove. You want to put the world on notice that you're here. So whether it's as a team, whether it's a player, you're trying to make a statement that you are one of them ones. Okay. And so there are three games that I was able to pick out, and I really feel good about these three games. And I'm actually going to start with the first. I finished with them the last time, and they lost to Texas. So I'm gonna start first, maybe change the karma a little bit. And so I'm going to start with my Alabama Crimson Tide making a statement tomorrow versus Ole Miss. Um, Tide ranked outside the top 10 for the first time since 2015. And during that time, it was a key game versus Ole Miss. It was a loss at that time, but in that game, we found our quarterback, we found our way. Jay Coker was that guy, and we had our Derrick Henry. Now, look, I don't know who's going to be a Derrick Henry on this team, but we might not need that. Again, we focus on the guys in the room, but we were able to run the table, beat Clemson in the national championship game, and all was well. But thinking of the last couple of weeks, obviously the loss at home in Texas, and then you're having a quarterback fiasco where they start Tyler Buckner for crying out loud over Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe, who, again, most people are saying kind of got suspended based on not maybe having the right attitude that Coach Saban was looking for during the week of practice. And so it was kind of a teaching lesson for him, but he showed that leadership style throughout the game, and, that Coach Saban was looking for. And so as far as we know, QB1 is Jalen Milroe. So we're rolling and rocking with the Milroe show for the foreseeable future. And Ty Simpson is waiting in the wings, I mean. Tyler Buckner, I hope you're focusing on your studies, son, and I hope you're looking for a new home, because it won't be at the University of Alabama anymore. I can guarantee you that. And if Tommy Reese doesn't like that, he can pack his bags and go there, go right along with you. But that's just what it is right now. But we got Lane Kiffin coming into town, playing against our former defense coordinator Pete Golding, who many a time I have not sang his praises. He's kind of pissed me off more than one time just with how he's coached the game, the adjustments he's made or adjustments he didn't make. And you know what? I think in some way he's looking for his pound of flesh and his revenge on the Bama fan base for all the shit we gave him over the years. And so, Ole Miss could very well be a team that's trying to make a statement as well that, hey, they're undefeated right now. This is their year. This is their time to take control of the SEC West, and that could very well be the case. But not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I think you're going to see an Alabama team that is refocused. I think they will have an identity now that the quarterback position to a degree is over. You're rolling with Milroe. I think we will see some things that cater more to his skill set. And so I think it's time to make a statement. And a statement isn't just winning, okay? A statement isn't just winning. It's winning in a certain type of way. It's putting the world on blast that, hey, Alabama is here. We are not ready to say die. We are not ready to cry uncle. We're here. We're staying here. You can't get rid of us that easily. And so I actually have Alabama winning this game quite handily. I think they're going to dominate in the run game. I think their defense, especially their pass rush, will start to get it together. You started seeing them get a little bit better in the pass rush um, against USF, albeit it was against USF. I will say one thing I want to see is more spies and containment of the quarterback. We let the USF quarterback get way too many rush yards. I think he had almost 100, if not over 100 on a day. So want to see that cleaned up. But I think the Alabama defense is going to force a couple turnovers, about two or three. And I think the offense is going to dominate. I think our offensive line is going to dominate their defensive line. I think Jace and Roydell would both have over 100 yards. And I think that Jalen Miller will have 75 plus rushing yards, as well as adding 200 plus passing yards. And so we'll have a few shot plays that kind of put this game away. I think it might be pretty even for the first quarter and a half. And kind of towards the second half, I think we'll make a big turnover, you know, end up going up by, 10 points or something like that to end the half. And then I think we kind of go in that second half and really start doing some damage. I think we get the ball first, second half, go down, score, go up 17, and then we start to squeeze the life a little bit out of Ole Miss. That's what I'm thinking with that game. Second game that I think is going to be a big factor on Statement Saturday is Florida State versus Clemson. Now, you're asking me, the Clemson that lost to Duke, the Clemson that's unranked, this is a statement? Yeah. You know what the statement is? Is that Florida State is king now. They have to go out there and prove that they can get over the Clemson hurdle. I'm excited to see they struggled, last weekend against Boston College, but again, anything happens. Alabama struggled against USF. It happens. And Florida State, they were on a high last year. I think they started off 4-0 on a high. And guess what? They played Clemson, got their bells rocked, and everything went downhill. And I think those guys, a lot of those guys from that Florida State team last year, they're here on this team, and they're telling themselves, this can't happen again. We have to put these guys down. We are the kings now. We're back on top. We're back on top like this the Jimbo Fisher days. We're back on top now, and it's time for Clemson to go whatever hole they crawled out of and go back in it, go back to mediocrity, go back to just, winning your 8 or 9 games, and let's leave the championship ball to Florida State Seminoles. That sounded good, didn't it? um, to be quite honest with you, I'm not so sure Florida State is ready. And so when I talk about a statement Saturday for them, obviously they have everybody else they want to prove wrong. And obviously they probably don't give two craps about me, but this is my show. And so I feel that they have to prove me wrong. They have to prove that they are ready to take that championship step. And you do that by dethroning the kings of the ACC. And here's the thing, they could very well see each other again in the ACC championship, but I think Clemson had 2 losses at this point. That might not happen. And so Clemson has a lot to play for. Even though they're unranked, guess what? They're playing for their pride. They want to show that they still own the ACC the way they have been for the past, 5 or 6 years, it feels like. And so they want to show that they're still on top, that they can climb their way back, if not back into the championship race, at the very least back to the ACC title race and another year become the ACC champion. So we'll see. Florida State, man. I love that chant. I love it. It's time. This, I mean, you got the quarterback, you got the old line, you got the running backs, you got the wide receiver. Oh my God, you got the defense. We know about Jared Verse. I can't even think of the other guy opposite him, but he was just making plays on my screen in the LSU game. So, really excited to see if Florida State is ready to take that next step. I'm not so confident, but I'm excited to watch it. And so that game is going to be at 11. So I'm going to get to watch that early and see how they do. And then my last statement Saturday honestly might be bolder than anything that I say about Alabama. And that is Notre Dame versus the Ohio State. Now, I haven't expressed it as much on this show, but everybody that follows me on Twitter, at Future NBA Gov, or if you follow the show at But Disrespect on Twitter or X now. My apologies, Elon. My apologies on that. Got about to rebrand. I have been singing the praises of Sam Hartman, who I affectionately call Sam, the man after my own heart. And that's Hart. You get it? See what I did there? I like it. Maybe corny, but I like it. I've been a big fan of this young man since he was at Wake Forest. Everybody's talking about his age, but again, he's not a Stetson Bennett. That's just a career student. He's actually had, some crazy things happen to him, and then we got the COVID year, but last year came back to Wake Forest to try to win an ACC title, possibly compete for a national championship. Ends up having like freak blood clots in his rib or something like that, having to have surgery, is out for a few weeks, comes back, does his thing, but nothing's really the same. Not too much where he feels like he's increased his stock as an NFL prospect, and so decides, hey, you know what? Instead of going to the league, maybe being a fifth or sixth round pick, I can play another year for one of the most prestigious programs in the nation and possibly play myself into third, second, I might say late first round territory as a quarterback. It's a possibility. I mean, everybody's saying Caleb Williams, Drake May, and then it's a toss up for number three. So who knows what could happen with Sam Hartman? And Notre Dame has been doing so well this year, off to a great start. Haven't played a lot of people, but it's okay. Sam did get over his North Carolina State headache, was able to kind of play well and lead Notre Dame to a victory. And now they play the Ohio State, a team that's still, in a way, much like Alabama, trying to find themselves, especially at the quarterback position. But they've been able to survive. They've been able to play well. Look like they're starting to put some things together. I think it will seemingly seems like they have decided who their starting quarterback is moving forward. I think it's Kyle McCord is their starting quarterback moving forward. That's going to be a night game at 6:30, man. And so when it comes to who I think is making a statement, I think Notre Dame is making a statement as a team. But I think from an individual standpoint, Sam Hartman makes a statement that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. And that if you are an NFL team that's going to be having a first round pick and you want somebody to build around, guy's a hell of a leader. I saw it at Wake Forest. One of the reasons why I know about A.T. Perry, that now plays for my New Orleans Saints, is because I initially was watching Wake Forest to watch Sam Hartman because he's a baller, man. And so I think he's going to play his way into the first round. And not so much like a Hendon Hooker, who was kind of, seemed like a 1 year wonder or whatever it was. Sam had tape consistently from his younger days as a starting quarterback to what he is now as a fifth or as a 6 year senior. So um, I am on record. I'm on record saying that Sam, the man after my own heart, will have his first of many Heisman moments this season. Not saying that Sam Hartman is going to win the Heisman, but I will say he will be in New York. He will be in New York, and he may very well have a chance to win the Heisman this year. But he's going to have his first of many Heisman moments against the Ohio State. And I will go as far to say that Notre Dame is going to win this game. I'm confident in that. I think Notre Dame wins this game. I think Sam Hartman has his Heisman moment. And people are talking about on Sunday and Monday and the weeks after, they are talking about is Notre Dame, led by Coach Marcus Freeman, led by quarterback Sam Hartman, are they for real? Are they really a contender? And we're going to be talking about where Ohio State stands. Even though Ohio State, they have, Big Ten is loaded in terms of ranked teams. I think Ohio State might find themselves late in the year, but I think at this point in time, still trying to question who they are, what they want to do as a team. I'm just completely confident in Notre Dame. I think they know who they are. I think they know who they want to do. I think they know who they want to be, and I think they know what they want to do. And I think they're going to do it well. And they're going to be led by one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Nobody tell my dad I ever gave a compliment to anything having to do with Notre Dame. But this, in terms of my statements, Saturday games, this is by far the one I'm most confident in. the one I'm most excited for, and definitely will be tuned in on. Sam Hartman. You heard the name here, and you're going to hear it a lot. Da, Mickey, please, please for your boy. Just consider Sam Hartman. I think you'll appreciate what he can bring to our organization. But anyways, man, sports in general, I love the fall. This is when sports really come alive. And so, man, this is one of the great sports weekends that we'll have. And again, I haven't even talked about what's on the NFL slate, but when you talk about the college football games, it's a bunch that are happening. You got Penn State, Iowa coming up. So, you got a lot of good games that are going to help dictate what might happen this season in college football. And so you might not be watching the three that I named, but I think if you're watching any game this college football season or this Saturday, you're going to be thrilled at what you see. Obviously, you got the WNBA semifinals. I really, if you're a hooper, you love hoops, you definitely want to watch. You're going to see some high quality coaching. You're going to see some high quality play. So definitely try to make sure you tune in for that. Then obviously you got a few matchups in the NFL. Don't watch any of the primetime games. They kind of suck this year, but I think some of the afternoon and late afternoon slate games, if that's more your speed, definitely going to be some good things on the docket there. Of course, Saints about to go 3-0 against the Green Bay Packers. But again, the show's not for them. It's about Statement Saturday. And as far as Sunday, the WNBA semis. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all enjoy your weekend. Make sure y'all stay safe out here. So, as we end the show, as we always do, said anything that offended anybody, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.